I'm a friend of Heather's. We met at the Vermont Studio Center in the summer of 2023 when her studio flooded.
Yes.
And we quickly bonded over painting our loved ones and light and color, and we're both educators as well. So we're going to be talking about Heather's work today. The show is titled Towards the Sun. We want to thank Marcelo Ricci for this beautiful space. We're also going to be talking to Kate Sherman right here, who has two lovely paintings in the nook. Welcome. So Heather, where did you grow up? When did you start painting seriously? Where did you study?
Well, first, thank you all for coming. It makes me feel so warm and welcomed, and it's hard for me. I'm a little shy, so it's hard for me to speak in front of a crowd. But knowing that it's all the people I love, that means a lot. So I grew up in San Antonio, Texas, and my mom was from California. My dad is from New York. But the whole family just kind of migrated to Texas for financial reasons, it's cheaper. And I didn't really have much art experience. It is a big city. But in high school, I transferred from a private school to an art school. And I had no experience at all. This teacher took a risk. Her name was Jennifer Yannick. And yeah, she took me under her wing when everybody was better than me, and I went into this room and there were canvases everywhere and a ceramic studio and a dark room, and I was just like, what is this magical wonderland? And so she took me under her wing, and she changed my whole life. I wouldn't be in New York if it weren't for her.
You applied to art school?
Yes, I applied to art
because
schools.
of her, right?
Yeah, she brought in representatives from art schools all over the country to come look at our portfolios. We drove in her minivan to National Portfolio Day in Houston.
Where you all went together to do
Yes.
that? Okay.
She was really bad at it.
She put in the extra effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had us show our work in downtown San Antonio. Her husband already made frames for our paintings. It was above and beyond. So sadly, last summer she passed. And so this is a painting of her in the hospital, and her husband Artie's reaching towards her hand.
So this is, whose hand is in the foreground?
So that's Artie, and then this is Yannick.
Okay.
We all called her by her last name.
And I think that this is a really beautiful painting, obviously. I love the iridescent color in it, but in particular, your last show, what was here?
Yeah, so the year before, I had a health crisis, and Josh stood by my side and was drawing for hours while I was in emergency room in hospital, and so I had a painting of him drawing and with my hand here, and so we thought it would be a nice memento for a year later or a year plus to put this painting here.
So where did you then, after high school, you went to where?
School of Visual Arts here in the city. It's where I met Josh, second month of college. And then from there, I was an illustration major, but I realized I did not want to be an illustrator, so I was just kind of getting through these classes. But my favorite class was figure painting, and I had David Tillman, who was a really great teacher there, as well as many others.
What kind of
figure painting? So I took the same class over and over with David.
So it was painting the live model.
Painting the live model, that was my favorite. And then from there, I went to Rhode Island School of Design. I got a Master of Arts in Teaching. And then quickly came back to New York and got a job teaching art in middle school. And I've been doing that ever since.
And you've been teaching for a long time.
A long time.
Okay. And then you were teaching, and then you really then started to take painting more seriously.
Yes. Yeah.
When would you say?
So I started in 2008, and then 2016 I was I've lost my artist self. I was making a little bit, but I mostly was just teaching and dealing with life and being an adult and figuring things out. So I signed up for a painting class with John Parks at SVA. I was figure painting again, and he taught me oils, and I met Carol, who's here. And I learned all my best mixes from Carol.
Wow.
And so I did that for 4 years, and then 2020 hit, and we all know what happened, and I cried because my class was canceled.
Yeah.
And so then from there, I took New York City Crit Club classes online, and then in person, took a sabbatical, did more classes. So, yeah.
So this is your second solo show here, as we mentioned. Your first solo show was in Wade let me get it, 2024.
Yes.
Yes, okay. How is the work different in this show versus your last show? How do you feel like it's changed, evolved, maybe?
I would say a lot of it's similar in theme. It's about my life, right? That's always the case. But it's another year in my life. The beginning of every year, I like to set like a small intention. I just write a word on a piece of tape, and I don't know if it's gonna like show in the work, but this year it did. It was adventure, and then in 2025 it was nurture. And looking back, I'm like, oh, that's actually what all of these paintings are about, and I just wrote it on a piece of tape in the studio.
So adventure and like nurturing.
Yeah, so it started with adventures in New Mexico, going like, it's actually after my teacher passed, I just booked this flight, and it was like, Josh, we need to go, like I just need to see like the sky, the open sky, and I want to go and see Georgia O'Keeffe's work. I wanted to go to her studio in the summer, and it turns out, I didn't know this at the time, but that Yannick was born in New Mexico, and that happened right after, so I was like, oh, it's meant, you know.
Yeah. And then, do we want to?
Sure, we can go.
That was in New Mexico. No, let's
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about
talk
it,
about
right?
it, yes.
It's called With Stars.
Yes.
And you said New Mexico, and did you just say Georgia O'Keeffe, or did I
Yes.
mishear?
Yes.
Or am I just putting words in your mouth?
No, you're
I
not.
don't
I
know.
don't think you are, but I practiced this before, so now I don't remember.
Okay. Beautiful painting.
So, you know, I'd learned about O'Keeffe in high school, and I think like she was just always in the background of my mind. I don't know that she was like my favorite painter, but just like I like to go down these like rabbit holes and learn about artists. And I always have like somebody that I'm like watching on YouTube, so I watched every video on O'Keeffe, and I was like, we need to go. So this is a painting of me reflected in the glass of her painting Black Cross with Stars, and I'd seen that in her museum in Santa Fe, and after seeing this painting, we went up to her studio and got a tour of about 10 people. It was very intimate and lovely. We got to like go through her house, and I literally looking reflected in the glass, seeing the landscapes that she had painted. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
And what is that painting of hers titled? Do you remember?
It's Black Cross with Stars.
Okay.
Yeah. She has like at least 3 iconic ones in the Santa Fe art museum.
Okay, so, and you want to go to the next painting? So we're gonna go here, and we're all gonna swap with you. So we're gonna go like this. On Georgia O'Keeffe, but you have a lot of other art historical influences, specifically Pierre Bonnard. You're obsessed with Monet. Let's talk a little bit about the paintings in the show that directly reference those artists, because there, I think, are many like heroes of yours in this show. This painting is titled, am I saying it right, Giverny?
I think it's Giverny.
Okay. Oh, perfect. So that's this painting.
Yeah.
Do you want to,
Sure.
whatever you feel like?
Yeah. So this summer, 2025, we were in Iceland. We'll talk more about that. Dan and I were there together. There was no sun for 12 days. It was dark and moody and brooding.
I loved it.
Dan and I moved there, but Josh and I were like, we need to go. So we had a magical time, but we decided Paris is 3 hours away, so we booked a trip to Paris. And then we went on another pilgrimage, an hour outside to Giverny, and we walked up the steps of Monet's house. This was not an intimate tour like O'Keeffe's house. This was like Disneyland, like hundreds of people like traipsing the gardens and around the water lilies and going in and out of his house. But I was like, you know what, this is pretty cool. This is for a picture.
Yeah.
I don't know where else in the world that kind of a crowd. Maybe there are other places. But.
And you felt really connected there.
I felt really connected. I'm obsessed with Pierre Bonnard. I know that he lived 3 miles down the road. You can't go and see his house, but I just thought about them like having their studio visits in Monet's late life, like coming up the steps, looking into the kitchen. I caught this glimpse of Josh through this curtain, and immediately the curtain I thought of Bonnard's like floor tile and his bathroom paintings that I've been looking at in Paris and museums. So yeah, this one.
You mentioned Bonnard and Monet, but like for those of us that maybe don't know,
Sure. Yeah.
like they were influenced by each other. Like what was the relationship?
I think they were.
I actually don't even know who was older, who was younger.
Okay,
I'm
Monet's
sorry.
older.
Sorry.
Monet was older.
Okay.
So so Monet died in the 20s, I believe. People can correct me if I'm wrong, and Bonnard died in the 40s.
Okay.
But they both like dealt with the war towards the end of their life while they were painting, actually. And so Monet painted his water lilies. Like I said, my favorite ones from the Orangery. And they're like this circular room, and that was supposed to be a World War I memorial, I believe.
Okay.
And so, yeah, while he was painting those, like the war was going on, I believe. And then the other paintings in the show that are also, I mean, there's a little bit of Bonnard in every painting, to be honest, but this one was also based on France here.
Okay. Yeah. We can move. We're moving a little bit. We're moving a little bit.
So this was in.
What is this one titled?
I just looked up how to pronounce it.
Oh, I
Marini.
Okay.
But Carol will know better.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was in the park, and you know, I wanted to have the show end with the sun, like to really be about taking in the sun and soaking in the light. And so this was based on a park in Paris, and I thought about this halo forming the sun, but also referring back to the stars, the night piece here.
Because your hat's in that
Yeah.
one. See the arch of it. Yeah.
And just like trying to make the most light. So like that's how I feel
Yeah.
when I'm like when I was walking around Monet's house, like just really soaking in the sun.
Yeah, it glows. It's beautiful. It's one of my favorites. You know that. Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, we could talk. So we're going to talk a little bit about like your process and what gives you kind of like creative joy, juice, you know? Is it the beginning of your work, getting lost in your work? How much is routine or like ritual involved? We just kind of want to know a little bit about your creative process and where you're like most excited. Yeah.
I don't know that I can say most, but there are many parts that I'm excited about. One would be like just corresponding with friends about my work, like often you at 6 a.m. before work, talking about an idea with the paintings, sharing work with friends, having studio visits, like really getting to talk about it. An intimate conversation, I would say, is like a highlight. But in terms of like the actual making, I try to create like sort of a safe space for myself. I mean, it's all in my home, so that's inherently safe. But like thinking of like safety in the mind, so I've been doing a lot of like meditation before painting, doing some yoga, anything where I can like be really present, because I feel like, you know, I'm a teacher, like constant, and then just like our lives in this time where it's like everything is coming at you from
A lot of stimulation.
yeah, a lot all the time. So I try to like really get insular with that.
So will you like, when do you paint normally, in the morning or after work? I feel like you sometimes paint in the morning.
I
right?
used to. Now I
Okay.
don't, because I want to have like longer stretches of time. I don't like
Okay.
thinking, oh, I've got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
But I
So
mean,
when you
after
come home,
work,
are you like
yeah.
grounding yourself first?
Yes,
So you can like get in the right headspace, because
totally.
when you're around children, it is a lot.
Yeah. And, you know, I think I just love it, you know, especially on a weekend when I have a long stretch of time. And, you know, I hang prisms in every window of our apartment, but especially in the studio. So they'll be casting like rainbows at certain times of the day onto the paintings. I've got my dogs like lying in the sun patch, like in this painting here.
Heather like just collects like those prism spheres,
Sun
drops.
Yeah.
They're like little drops.
Yeah.
And she just gave them out to everybody when we were at the Vermont Studio Center. So everybody had this little press. She's so like giving and caring. But you like let them actually cast onto your painting,
Yeah.
and then what do you kind of do from there?
So it can happen in a few different ways, but like this one I was originally not intending on putting a rainbow on it, because I had a self-portrait from the year before in this gallery with a rainbow hitting the eye. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that, but then it landed right there, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm gonna put it there. Yeah, like that feels right. And then other times, like I'll be just like photographing areas of my home, and I'll see like the rainbows, and then
And that is Winnie
way-
Rainbow.
Yeah, that one's
And this
Winnie
is
Rainbow.
titled 39 LA.
Yeah.
Both have the rainbows in them. Both like, that was on the floor. The rainbows were on the floor when you took the photograph of her.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this one you let the rainbows go onto the surface, the actual painting.
Yeah.
Photographed it, and then added the rainbows in.
This one I just painted it, like that sort of more subtle one, just right on it while the
Can we
rainbow was
talk
there.
about that painting? Because I feel like that painting,
Yeah.
to me, when I think about this painting, I feel like I was on the journey,
Yes.
right? Okay, so it was one thing, it became another, then it became another, then it became another, and then it was like maybe, and then it was like no, and then now it's like yes. Like it's so beautiful, right? But I think it's doing something different than a lot of the other paintings in terms of like what you did there.
Yeah.
Maybe we could talk a little bit about
Sure.
that process of that one.
So scaling up for me, for sure, you know, I think every year in this gallery, like they go from like this size and start getting a little bit bigger. And it was a scene, and then I decided, okay, this is gonna be like my ode to pink, you know, because I love a neon pink, but I wanted to really push the variations of that. And I thought about Bouillard as well as Bonnard and some of his pink paintings. And then as I was working on it, I was struggling. I had friends come to the studio and take a look and give me advice. And then at one moment, I think that the tipping point was I decided to add steam and to really make it a softer look. And that, I think, brought it together.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was like one of the first times you, I don't know, the grid on the shower curtain. We talked about that, right? And I think it was kind of, was that the first time you did anything like that to create a pattern, or had you done it before?
It was the first time I had like taken the tiny painter's tape and like, actually Josh helped me because my hand was like not working at that point, I had an injury, and taped the grid. And then, you know, I just worked with the remnants of letting the grid stay in some parts and then letting it fade away.
And what was the, so you work with colored ground often.
Yeah.
What was the original colored ground on this one?
I
Was
think-
it the magenta?
Yeah, I think it was mostly a scallop pink, but I'll like do like gradients. I would say like it might be like right in there, but there are quite a few variations of magenta. The magenta I realize is very hard to work with because it's translucent.
And like,
oh
yeah.
my gosh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you are also what I really, really admire about Heather is her ability to start a painting, be like, no, not working, and then completely redo it on a new canvas. And her ability to work with literally every single color and push herself out of her comfort zone and choose a different colored ground every time. Because layering on top of colored ground is so hard because of the color relationships, and I just think you do that so well. I admire you for that. Yeah. Wanna talk a little more about your process? We'll go here, right in the corner. So this painting here is titled Ritual, right? And this is drawing with Finn. So we did touch a little bit on your process from spotting light and gathering photos. I think you gather photos from life, right? We talked about the prism light, the prism rainbows casting onto the paintings to create new compositions, using oil ground and working with colored grounds and layering and scumbling and mark making. And maybe we talked about all of this already, I don't know, but you also use a lot of iridescent and interference paint. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that, or maybe anything else that you think of when you think of these two paired together? Yeah.
Well, I'll start with just the idea. This is Josh and Sarah drawing, brother and sister. And, you know, they've been drawing together their entire lives. Now we draw with her kids. Josh, just a shout out to him one more time. He's on day 1260 of drawing in a row. Yes, check the calendar. So this one's about the ritual of drawing. I wanted to do a day and a night scene of that. And often I'll start with a colored ground. I usually start flat. Sometimes I know what the color is going to be. Sometimes I'm just messing around and wiping off a whole bunch of expensive oil paint and then doing it again. Yeah, so I started this one with this like chartreuse color, and then this one was like variations of really dark midnight. I was thinking about this one, like Munch's Starry Night, which I have a postcard of in my studio. And I think I even layered, like, I'll do some wiping of the paint, like to create an illusion of light. So I wiped right there, and then I wiped in here, and then I added the pink in, and I added the like light yellow in, and then I tried
the pink was added after you wiped off the darker tones?
Parts.
Yeah.
I think so anyway. And then Yeah, I try to work a lot wet into wet in the beginning, like make really big moves in the beginning when I have a lot of time when I'm starting a painting. So that way when I'm tired after school, I can worry about the little moves on my easel. And sometimes I'll go from, floor to wall to easel, back to wall, like that kind of just changes and shifts. But
Do you know how long, I'm just curious, how long these took? Like how long would you say a painting takes you?
I actually don't know because I work on a lot at once and then I let them dry and then I go back to them. So I'll like do all those big moves and then they'll sit for like a week or two. And then,
You always have more than one painting going.
Yeah, I try to have like 6 or more going.
So they're kind of all talking to each other. Yeah. I feel like you move things around on your wall to get, to kind of see, let them kind of inform each other, right?
Totally.
Yeah. I love the periwinkle in the background. It's like, we love periwinkle.
I looked up the word chat and it had reference to color periwinkle like 127 times.
You did. I don't know why. I just think it's the answer. It's the answer to right? Yeah, and Sarah's an artist too, right?
Yes, she's a painter as well. So it's like a multi-generation of artist family. I grew up an only child, and so now I feel like I'm part of this lineage of artists, the siblings.
Okay. Should we talk about? I just thought of it.
Oh yeah.
The
Thank
shirt
you. Yes, we have to
that
give a shout
Josh
out
wears every day.
Not today.
He corrected me. He said once a week. I'm pretty sure it's like 3 times a week. So at the drawing stall, he bought this shirt with an owl on it, and that is a drawing originally by Paul Booth, an artist here in New York. And that day you met Caroline Blum, who had been drawing every day for 5 years, and ever since the day Josh met her, he has drawn every day.
Wow.
So
that shirt.
Yeah, it has a lot of meaning. Thank you for remembering.
Yeah. So we'll go over to the last painting. 2 more questions. Periwinkle painting. Yeah. So this painting is titled Winter Bath. So the one question I wanted to ask you, I think it's very intimate, like the home. How has the pandemic affected your art practice?
Yeah, I mean, that changed my entire life. I think before the pandemic, I've taken the classes, I had a smaller community, and then after taking these classes in Print Club, and then, things opening up and having potlucks and going to people's studios, I just suddenly now I know all of you. Like I wouldn't have met most of you if it weren't for the pandemic. And to think of like such an isolating period actually bringing such joy and connection is one of the good things to come out of something that was really rough.
This photo was taken after. This is new.
This
Newer
is
reference.
2025.
Yeah. We touched on this a little bit, but let's maybe talk, if you want, a little more about your community and how they pipe in with opinions about your work. How much of their advice do you take or not? And how important is that to your process? I feel like but if you have any more you want to say about it.
I would just say that I think that's everything. I think, I didn't go to grad school for art, I went for art ed. And I think like my connections with all of you have really informed me and made me a better painter.
Yeah. And you love to have studio visits.
Yeah, I do.
And you're in
going to
Brooklyn,
people's
so
studios
yeah.
and having people over.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
This is my favorite painting.
It's amazing.
And I took a long time with your suggestion that we were going to add the water, and I was like, no. And then I waited like 3 months, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it.
I love this
That was my favorite part.
Yeah. And like, if you haven't seen yet, it's like, for me, with Heather's paintings in real life versus in the photo, you have to move around them like 180.
There is some interference paint in here.
Interference is really difficult, I think, and iridescent paint to work with.
It's like holographic, like this, like nail polish or something. So if you turn from one angle, it looks one color, and then you turn another, it looks like a certain color.
And interference colors, a lot. Williamsburg makes some good interference colors, and then iridescent colors, and you see that in this one. You see it in that. You see it in a bunch. It's in
a lot of them.
It's in a lot of them, and I just think you really use it really, really successfully. It adds that other like tactile, have to see in person, tangible object to your paintings. Yeah.
Like pass the baton to the next artist.
Yes.
Somebody that they respect. He's one of my favorite painters here in New York. And so then you get to meet him. You were in the Nova Group last year, actually.
Mm-hmm. So this is Kate Sherman, and you met Heather at the New York City Crit Club, right?
Yeah, that pandemic evolution, definitely. Yeah.
So actually for me, I just like to point this out because when I first saw these paintings, I was looking a little bit from a distance, but they felt like they were made out of paper to me, like maybe hardened with paper mache, maybe then painted with metallic paint of some sort, and I quickly learned they are not paper. So could you maybe talk a little bit about your materials in your work? Maybe a little bit about your inspiration. I heard you love to ride your bike around the city. You're inspired by architecture, bridges, tunnels. You work for Colossal, which is a sign painting company, I believe. Maybe even talk about some of your artist inspiration, and if you want me to repeat any of that, I know it was a lot. And I can't. Just like listed a lot of things.
Definitely. So
So your materials, maybe.
Yeah, I'll start with the materials. I've been working with this very thin gauge metal that you can get at Blick called tooling foil. It's like you can use it to make like ornaments. I think is it's like in actual use, but it's very easy to cut with scissors, and you can poke holes with it with like a bookmaking awl. And I have my undergrad degree was in printmaking, but I was always kind of like a painter printmaker. Like I was never good at the additions, like never could make the same thing twice. But I learned in that, like I developed a real love for like touching and holding metal, and how like you transfer heat. It's kind of like oil paint, like it almost feels it's like this conductive quality where like you transfer your body heat into it, and then it's warm for a while, and you can do things with it.
More malleable then.
Yeah, it really it speaks back to you the way that like canvas doesn't. Like you press it and it kind of presses back at you. And I also think through riding my bike a lot on the bridges, I was looking and learning a lot about like rivets and how.
What are rivets?
They're like those like bolts that hold the bridges together.
Oh.
So it's like with the way the bridges are constructed, and they're very strong, and the rivets are like hold things together so that when they shrink or get larger because of the weather, like the bridge stays together. And I just really once I learned that, every time I saw them, I was like, that is so cool. And I was thinking about making a painting that had this kind of modularity and then this like strength through kind of being kind of poked, but then like interconnected with itself almost.
Interesting.
So that I think was kind of the initial thinking about. I was using canvas and these like raincoat snaps as like before I started using the metal. I was like, I feel
raincoat buttons.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that started to look kind of like clothes or something. Or like
Are there any of those in this, or
no?
are
They
these
were
like...
about the same size as this though.
Okay. Are those push pins
But
in that one?
yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some of the push pins are painted.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
I think so. There are some painters.
Is it holding them together?
Yeah.
Is it holding the sheets of metal together, or is it just for pattern and
both.
composite? Okay.
It's both.
Cool.
It's holding the painting. It's holding the copper to the wooden stretcher bars, and also holding the metal pieces to each other. So I kind of like cobbled the paintings together first like that. And then there are some painters that I think of a lot who are like, they sort of have an all-overness to the way that the color distribution. And Kamar Winter's like a contemporary artist who just talked at Hunter, who does this, like his work looks like it's like, I don't know, like there's an all-overness to the color that makes it very like atmospheric, but each color, I think you do this too, it's like there are finite pieces of color, but there's enough of them around that overall it looks like one color story. And I think that's what I was thinking about.
So it's about like size and placement of color.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are these titled? Do they have titles?
They do have titles, but I don't remember remember them.
Okay.
They were new.
Okay.
New titles. Actually,
Do you make a lot of these little ones? Because you work
Yeah.
really big too.
I do.
saw pictures of your studio and you were on a ladder. And
I'm
things were
working
up
big.
high.
I'm working big, especially now in school with a big space.
Okay.
This painting on the left is from 2023, and that one is titled "Happy to Be Here," and that was like during school, like during a Christmas break at school. We don't have classes in January, but I
Okay.
still had those days off in school from work, so I would just
Mhm.
go to studio, and I just was like, this really worked out. Like I have a lot of time to make the little paintings. To me, feel like sketches for like the type of movement I want in the larger paintings.
You learn from them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
because you can put a lot of drawing into them, and you know, they become just kind of like little, kind of like concise movement expressions. Like this one has a kind of like propelling sense to it, and then this one looks almost like, you know, suds coming out of a can of soda or something. Like
Oh.
has this kind of
Okay,
so
cool.
yeah. So
So you're pursuing your MFA at Hunter.
hmm
How do you feel? You kind of touched on it already, but how has it informed your work so far? Are you in what year are you in?
I'm in my second year out of 3, and I think it's just completely blown my work open, like, because I have such access to now, like, a wood shop and other students and their skill sets, and I think even, like, it's, like, right by the Holland Tunnel, and so you're just in this, like, complete kind of like nightmare intersection.
I know,
New York
it's a
City and New
nightmare
Jersey.
looking at it. I know I've driven
Yeah.
through it.
I'm from New Jersey, so I feel like, you know, it's right over there. Like I can go through the tunnel if I need to. But I think school has really helped me develop, like, I don't know, scale the work up. Because of Colossal, I spend a lot of my time during the week considering how painted imagery is affected by how far away you see it, how colors are affected by how far away you see it, and how structures, like inherent texture of structures, affects the images that you put on them. So like what Colossal does, they paint on brick, and some of the brick in the city, especially in this neighborhood,
Deep or like texture.
mortar, it's
Yeah.
insane. And so we have to talk to the clients and be like, well, you don't want to put that eye over this area. You should move it over here because this texture is just insane.
Yeah.
And I
that's
feel
cool.
like through like osmosis, all of this, considering that through my job, has affected the way I want to paint, where like I kind of want to solve those problems in the paintings now too, kind of create like a real sort of insane texture to problem solve and make an image like within it and on top of it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pleasure to be in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were wondering if anybody had any questions.